Welcome back for another video. In today's video I'll be running through my Gameweek 8 team selection and thoughts heading into this game week. As mentioned in last week's video, the wildcard is active ahead of Gameweek 8 and several further changes have been made to the team. We'll skip the usual look back at how the last game week went, as we covered that in my initial wildcard video last week. If you missed it, we had a 4th consecutive green arrow and we're currently 12.8k. Today's video is sponsored by OneFootball, which is a free app on both iOS and Android. I'll link to the apps at the top of the description. From an FPL perspective, I definitely recommend giving it a try, not just because it supports the channel, but it's a genuinely good app for its features such as the lineups, live scores, goal scorers, assists, news and more. When you open the app, it'll ask you which team's your favourite, or if you don't have one you can simply skip the step. You can also favourite competitions such as the Premier League. Thank you again to OneFootball, and to download the app simply hit the link at the top of the description. Enjoy the video. Ramsdale joins the team on the wildcard. He's had an impressive start to his Arsenal career, keeping 3 clean sheets in his 4 games and conceded just 1 goal. He's had a price increase to 4.6, which is still great value, and 3 of his next 4 games are at home. There is a small element of doubt that he could lose his spot to Leno, but you'd imagine he'd have to put in some really poor performances to do so. In a press conference, Arteta said that he cannot guarantee to Leno that he plays again this season, which does sound promising. In the 4 games he's played, Arsenal were 3rd best in the league for expected goals conceded on 3.85 XGC. Alexander-Arnold rejoins the team in defence. We sold him in Gameweek 7 due to his groin injury, but the news this week is that he's back in training and available for selection against Watford. You always want to avoid a booked-in transfer, and in my opinion, barring injuries, Trent finishes the season as the highest scoring defender, and if we don't get him now, it will inevitably happen in a later game week after a haul. Despite missing 2 of the last 3 game weeks, Trent is still well cleared for expected goal involvement among all defenders on 3.09, and as we've discussed before, he takes corners for Liverpool down the right side. He's got a very good fixture against Watford away, and although he has a few tougher games coming up, he's always capable of getting you returns in any game. Rudiger keeps his spot in the wildcard draft as we look to target Chelsea's upcoming run of games. Rudiger's been going up for corners while Christensen has been staying back more, and in Gameweek 5 Rudiger scored against Tottenham. He hasn't missed a minute of football all season and has 4 clean sheets from 7 games. If you fancy a risk, then Chilwell could emerge as the best option of them all. He started in Gameweek 7 and scored against Southampton, but for now we'll resist temptation. Cancelo also remains in the team and as it stands is the highest scoring defender in the game on 44 points. He has 3 fantastic fixtures coming up and is 3rd among all defenders for expected goal involvement on 1.86 XGC. Cancelo is another player that hasn't missed a minute of Premier League football and we'll hope that can remain the case. Man City are currently 3rd, so Pep isn't in a luxury position to be benching some of his best players like we saw at the tail end of last season. Zinchenko could be back in time for Gameweek 8. However, there is always the possibility of Cancelo playing right back and Walker being the one who misses out. Ruben Diaz joins the team in defence at the sacrifice of Azpilicueta. This one is a difficult decision, however Man City are comfortably best for expected goals conceded on just 4 XGC from their opening 7 games. They've only conceded 5 big chances, which is at a rate of less than 1 per game. There's no doubt that Chelsea's defence is elite too, however they're actually 10th for XGC so far. There is of course a rotation risk with Diaz and Cancelo, however that could also be the case of Azpilicueta and Rudiger, considering all the options that Tuchel has in centre back and with the return of James. We saw Azpilicueta benched once already in Gameweek 4, so it's a narrow decision but we'll back the Man City duo who have a higher ceiling as a combo. Diaz looks relatively safe from rotation, he's not missed a minute of football, and if we compare to last season, Diaz was benched once all the way to Gameweek 30. I ran a poll on the channel and it looks like more of you are in agreement than not, however do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Unsurprisingly, Salah remains in the team. He's 21 points clear as the top scoring player in the game and is top among all players for expected goal involvement. There really isn't too much to discuss when it comes to Salah, you simply have to own him. Salah gets the armband for Gameweek 8 against newly appointed Ranieri's Watford. Another difficult decision, but Foden makes the final team at the sacrifice of Son. It's worth noting that picking Foden over Son allows for Trent to join the defence. Foden's been in good form since returning, and the Burnley fixture feels like a game worth picking up an attacker for, despite the rotation risk. Guardiola has faced Dyche's Burnley 14 times, winning 13 times, drawing once and never losing. Over those 14 games, Man City have scored 42 goals at a rate of 3 goals per game, and they've conceded just 5 goals. The last 4 games in a row where Man City have faced Burnley at the Etihad have all finished in a 5-0 win. If we fall victim to Pep Roulette, we at least have some good options off the bench in preparation. Smith Rowe completes the midfield for Gameweek 8, priced very reasonably at 5.4 after a couple of price drops and then a rise over the break. He's got 4 great fixtures ahead and has been getting consistent minutes in the team. Saka's a very good option too, however both Saka and Smith Rowe are dead even on expected goal involvement so far, so we've opted for the cheaper of the two and have used the money elsewhere. We've had Antonio since Gameweek 1 and he remains in the team for now. He's been in some of the best form in the league, despite his disappointing blank in the loss against Brentford at home last game week. There could be an opportunity to shift him on in the next few weeks as his fixtures aren't great, but it would be risky to gamble on it right now. Antonio snubbed the Jamaica international team over the break, so he'll be fully focused on West Ham. There's a really great spread of mid-price strikers right now, which I'll get to shortly. The final player who keeps his spot is Lukaku. He too had an underwhelming Gameweek 7, and despite failing to score in his last 3 games, he's well worth holding for the upcoming games, particularly the Norwich and Newcastle games in Gameweeks 9 and Gameweek 10. When picking your team, it's important to have an idea of who you'll be captaining in later weeks, and Lukaku is the obvious pick while Salah faces Man United in a couple of weeks. Hwang doesn't make the final draft, instead Southampton's new signing Adam Armstrong comes in. Armstrong's fixtures look slightly better, and in Gameweek 8 he faces Leeds, who kept their first clean sheet of the season last gameweek against Norwich. Leeds are third worst for expected goals conceded on 12.43, so we're definitely targeting the fixture more than the form with this one. Armstrong has only scored once all season, and he may end up a short-term punt to make way for Tony in a few game weeks. On the bench it's Foster, Rafinha, Livramento and Norman. Foster's got the most minutes of the 4.0 keepers. He could well lose his spot to Backman, but he's currently the likeliest of the bunch to get minutes, just in case we ever need to call on him. In the 3 games Foster's played, he's conceded a single goal in each game, so perhaps something for the Hornets to build upon. If Ranieri turns them around and he's still playing by Gameweek 12, then perhaps you can make a case for starting him ahead of Ramsdale, who is away at Anfield that week. Rafinha is expected to miss Gameweek 8 due to international duty because Brazil face Uruguay just a day and a half before Gameweek 8 begins. Rafinha's been very impressive over the break for Brazil, and likewise he's represented good value in FPL. We may have a benching headache on our hands once he's back in Gameweek 9, but on the other hand, if we get caught out by any rotation, the bench is strong enough to cater. Livramento is fantastic value for 4.2. He started every game and has kept 2 clean sheets despite some tough games including Chelsea, Man City and Man United. It's unlikely we'll need to call upon him, but if we do, his next 5 games are quite good, and I'm sure there will be a game week here and there where he's on the bench and we miss out on some clean sheet points. Norman's an interesting one, just 0.1% owned. I was digging through the data and was surprised to discover that he's taken 4 shots from direct free kicks, which is the joint most among all players, tied with Ward-Prowse. He's also been taking some corners and has the best minutes per expected goal involvement of all the 4.5mm mids. I even had a skim through the Norwich subreddit, as I've admittedly not watched many Norwich games, and they've been thoroughly impressed by his impact since coming in, and he does have 1 assist already. Norwich are another side with a very good run of games coming up starting in Gameweek 10, and if they stand any chance of staying up, they'll need to pick up some points there. Douglas Luiz is a great option too, but those going for him just need to be aware that he may miss Gameweek 8 and Gameweek 12 because of international fixtures. Let me know what you think of the team. It does feel good to be wildcarding from a position of strength with a good overall rank, so let's hope we can continue to do well as the season progresses. As always, I'll post my final team on my channel and Twitter just in case of any late changes to the team. Let me know in the comments what your plans are for Gameweek 8. I read every comment, so if you enjoyed the video, let me know. Lastly, please remember to like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel.